Hey guys, Bart here. I have a little dilemma with this bike we bought. It's the new 2020 MT-03. It comes with this taillight, and I also ditched my fender for a TST Industries fender eliminator, and I've eliminated spots to attach signals to. So what am I gonna do? Naturally, I'm gonna grab a TST Industries integrated sequential taillight that is programmable, plug and play, and throw that on the bike. So here you see I've already eliminated the fender. We will not be showing those steps in this video. This is just the installation procedure for how to get one of these lights into a Yamaha MT-03. Our tail lights, like I said, they're programmable. You can access different program modes for the different sequences that you could program into the tail light, into the signals, and also the brake function. This remains accessible after the installation is complete. We do have two variants of this. Here you see smoked. I like smoked for this bike. It's our project bike. We will go with smoke. Some people like clear. We also do offer that and stock it. Always have it in stock. Like I mentioned before, this is plug and play. Here you see your 3-conductor plug going into the main functions, plugs straight into your harness. And here you see these two plugs go into our connectors on the harness for the signaling equipment. This differs slightly from the previous years, or actually from the R3 variant bike. These connectors here were different, but this taillight is actually the same. We're reshooting this video on this bike because it is a company project bike, but you'll find that all of the equipment here on this bike is exactly the same as the 19 plus and the 15 plus generation R3s. It is a really simple installation. It basically installs like your OEM taillight. It is a perfect fit. So many thousands of people around the world have already enjoyed this on their R3. If you're into an integrated taillight, I can promise you with almost 100% certainty that you will love this. Anyway, let's get wrenching. I'm bored of talking. Let's go. All right, let's now remove the seats, passenger, driver, and this panel. I'm gonna be using a 4mm Allen wrench to remove these two fasteners. Then when they're out, pry away on these side fairings to clear the tab in there. And then this will tab backwards and up, just like that. Underneath, we find two 8mm head fasteners. Use a socket, either with a ratchet or some kind of a power device. Take out the seat, good to go. Now under here, you'll notice we have already taken out some equipment. This is one of the signal connectors, and this is the opposite side signal connector. This is where we'll be installing our taillight. And then also, we'll notice the 3-conductor plug here. We can actually, once we find it, press down on this tab and unlock it. And now our electrical connection to the taillight is killed. We'll work up the line and remove all these components. And that way we'll be able to get to our taillight and remove it. On this tray, we have these two push fasteners going from the side. Push them in, they unlock. And then I like to reset them to this configuration, makes them ready to be reinserted later on. And there's a tab in here, I'll just pull forward, that whole thing comes out. We have two more of these push fasteners here on the sides. Same thing. Now up the line here, we have two Phillips fasteners that need to come out for the center panel in the tail. Notice these are not machine thread. These are this coarse self-threading look thread. Memorize that so you have an easy time reinstalling everything. All right, so this panel goes towards the rear of the bike, tabs out in the rear. You clear the windows by pushing up, and then back forward through here, comes out, tabs here in the interference windows. Also a tab here fits over this tab on the taillight. Now we have two screws here that use a 4mm Allen. Grab the appropriate tool, get those loosened and out. When you remove these guys from their spots, notice that there are sleeves underneath. They may come out with the screw, or they may be stuck in the grommet. Whatever the case is, you do want to save them. You do want to have them paired with those screws. That is how we will reinstall our new taillight. All right, we're almost there. Things are starting to loosen up. We still have two fasteners in here holding the taillight in. They are friction fasteners on these panels that act inward towards the center plane of the bike. And there are grommets that look similar to this there that they fit through, and that's what holds this taillight in still. So we will need to loosen some additional components, namely 3 push fasteners on each side here, and then also up top here we will get these guys out just for good measure, making sure that we have enough play here to disengage these friction fasteners I just discussed. Now if you have access from the bottom, you can just push those locking pins out from the bottom. And these guys just pop out. Now I'll just pop out these fasteners here. Same concept, press them in and they just unlock. There are 3 on either side. They're in this, and this location. Once you have these fasteners out, this fairing's really loose. So at this point, we're able to push straight out. Now this fastener is in line with all these holes here. So I'm gonna carefully push straight out, just like this. And this is the last thing holding the taillight on. So I'll do the same, but I will support the taillight. Now once you wiggle out this taillight, take notice there's another tab here that hangs out in an interference window down here. So this is the last locating component that will prevent it from rotation. I recommend pushing down on the taillight and carefully working it out. Now the wire here, or a cable containing 3 wires, it's kind of loose, but it's still caught under all of these components. I'm going to take the starting relay up and out of the way and just work this wire out. I don't want to just pull on it because it may damage some other wiring along the way. There is a single wire tie here holding a bunch of stuff together. I'm going to grab a cutter. It'll be necessary to cut this zip tie out. And now we work this plug out as we withdraw the cable. Now we're ready to take our taillight to the table, take off some of these grommets, replace them on the new taillight, take these fasteners off, and then we'll be reassembling. Okay, in the swap phase here, I like to do these fasteners first, then these, then these. Sequence doesn't matter, I just don't like to take everything off and then have to put it back on, guessing what goes where. And take these clip fasteners off. They're fairly easy, but just notice they do have a window here. They're supposed to locate also. The feature that catches the thread goes on the bottom, and the regular hole goes on the top. In case you drop it, this will show you how to put it back on. This window that I just discussed accepts this little tab. These grommets up here have the same diameter heads on both sides, so it doesn't really matter how you put them in. You just need to make sure after insertion that everything's concentric and that you have a through hole all the way through. Now, these grommets here, they actually do have dual diameters. As you can see, the outside is larger than the inside. Make sure you get them back in that same way. And now we will undo the wire tie here, stretch out the wires, and we are good to go. Let's go back to the bike. Now back on the bike, I'm going to attempt to run all my wires in the same fashion as the OEM setup. I do have 2 more wires to consider here. So I'll pass one by one on the plugs between the rear compartment and the front here. There is a ridge or a lip that's preventing me just from chucking it over. And these connectors are quite big. Once you get the signal connectors through, the rest is easy. Now we are in the main compartment here. Pull the light up here. Now notice the programming buttons right here. Once the light is in position, you have really convenient access to it. Here, each press of this button toggles you through all the different program states we have. We will illustrate those program states at the end of this video so you can see what we're talking about. It's fairly simple here. Just want to align this the way the OEM setup was aligned. I illustrated this tab and its window during the removal process. That is the first thing that gets engaged. And then the next thing is the proper alignment of these tabs and also our push fasteners that act from the outward direction in. So you can see I have these tabs on top. If you end up with them down low, this won't work. So you need to make sure that you are in fact on top here. This is also kind of tricky with all these other tabs in the forward section here. Sometimes these get caught under their tabs. So just make sure you have the plastic on top of the metal here, plastic on top of the metal, both sides, same here, and then pop that friction fastener in. And we're styling here. It's looking pretty good. Bottom's looking good, it's aligning. All of our screw holes are aligned. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace these 2 screws. Now remember, these came out with these sleeves. Press the sleeves in first. And get my screws in. I like to do this by hand. Once I establish screw engagement, I grab a 4mm Allen and go all the way to bottom out. Now this will bottom out on the sleeves and not on the actual taillight, so this is okay to bottom out right now. Looking good. You can grab our center panel, reverse order of disassembly, so from the forward section back like this here until these tabs I illustrated go in the large side or larger portion of their window, and then we press back, making sure that catch on the inside here gets on this tab of the taillight, and you'll know when it does because then the taillight is suspended in there and your holes align. So we'll replace the original fasteners from here, grab a Phillips and keep going. So now I will replace all of the push fasteners that I took out from the top here from these connections. All right, and that's all looking good. Push fasteners on the bottom side, we'll address that a little bit later. Right now, just making sure everything's coming together nicely with no big gaps. Everything's looking good. I want to address the wiring here. I did cut this wire tie, so I'll need to remove it. I have in the past left the rear portion of the harness on R3s not cinched down, and it's never posed a problem. So we can do that, or we can grab a zip tie and go ahead here and replace it in the same way factory had it. So I will grab a cable tie here, give it a little bit of a pre-curve like this, so that I can span around the tubes and comes back towards me. All right, before I commit, I'm gonna make sure that I have all the wires that I want to cinch down, and I've omitted any of the wires that I don't want to cinch down. And let's see, we did. Awesome. We have ample length here to make our connections. The harness is back to where it was. I just need to cut off the excess. All right, let's run this through here like that, and then get our relay back in place. And this is all looking nice and neat. All the wires parallel, good to go. Got a little tangle here. I'll undo that. I'll get my 3-conductor connector plugged in. They usually have a nice little audible noise snap that they make. That lets you know that they've actually been connected. Now, I'm not going to connect both of them. I'm going to verify that I'm connected to the correct side. And in fact, I'm reversed. So on this particular bike, we're going to want to go green wire to white connector, brown to black connector. Verify signaling, making sure the correct side is flashing. Cool. All right. Final little neaten up procedure here. I'm going to move these ECU wires up and out of the way by pulling up on the entire ECU. I'm going to seat this 3-conductor plug down deep in there, and then also follow with some of these signal plugs. This guy doesn't go back far enough, so I'll just leave him in here. It's kind of how he was from the factory. Replace the ECU and we're good to go here. Cool, so this is pretty good to go. I verified that I have all the functions. Now I'll just replace all these components. We'll jump down to the bottom, replace the push fasteners, and we'll be good to go. All right, so this will be the last step. I'll place these 3 push fasteners on this side of the bike, move on to the left side, and then we'll be done. All right, you guys, this is a pretty straightforward installation, made further simpler by just following our steps. Look at the difference. Plain and boring. And here it looks like the back end of a jet fighter. I really, really love this design. Probably biased because I'm the one who designed it, but the world has responded with an overwhelming demand for this. So most of you guys out there must like it. It really flows with the lines. It really completes the end of this bike. The bike looks like it's missing something with the OEM geometry taillight, and now to me this really looks complete and really aggressive. You turn it on, the perimeter light comes on and glows red, and it's super nice, and then you hit your brakes, the whole thing lights up and it's super bright. Most people who see this live, they contend that it's brighter than the OEM unit. I'm not gonna venture that guess, but to me it does look very, very bright. We'll show you all the different modes. There are 9 different combinations. That's coming. I just wanted to thank you for watching. If you like what we do, please subscribe. Furthermore, go to tstindustries.com. Check out our catalog of parts for this bike. It's growing all the time. We've actually come out with a lot of parts for the R3 in the past that fit on this bike. Small modifications to those parts make it fit. And that's pretty much it. I wanted to invite you to tstindustries.com to see our parts, get info, see photos of the parts mounted on bikes, and that's it. Thank you for watching. Be safe out there. See you in the next one.